Hi, everyone. Happy Thursday. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll just give everyone a couple minutes here to jump on. My name is Heather, and I am our Customer Success Manager here at Sendible. I have Costa on with me as well, as you see, and he is with our customer support team. And later on in the session, we're also going to have a guest appearance by Michael, who is with our sales team. So we're super excited to have all of us on today. And for today's session, we're going to be talking through white labels and really some of the key areas that we find as the best ways to use your white label. So what's going to make it the most successful for you when you're thinking about using it with your clients. So for the session, I'll spend the first probably about 12 to 15 minutes walking through a few different customization options that you have within your white label. And then we're going to have Michael come on, and he's going to talk a little bit about two different white labeled solutions we have. One is called co-branding, and one is the white label. So there's just a little bit of a difference between the two. So he'll talk through that a little bit. Again, Michael is with our sales team. And then after that, we'll open it up for questions, and it'll be myself, Costa, hi Michael, for the questions. And so between the three of us, we'll make sure that we help and answer any questions you may have. If I can just ask that we keep the questions relevant to today's topic, which is white labels, customization of your white labels, using your white labels with clients, so on from there. And throughout the session, you don't have to wait until the end. Throughout the session, you can submit your questions into the question box. So I'm just going to go ahead and pop in a chat here. Hi, everyone. And so that's the chat. To the right of the chat, you'll see the question, and you can just go ahead and pop your questions in there. We'll hold off answering until the end, but feel free to submit them throughout the session. While some more people are still getting on, I'm going to go ahead and get us started with an icebreaker. So if you'd like to participate, use the chat to submit your answer. And the icebreaker question for today is, I actually stole this from someone, I've altered a little bit. What is your favorite or most used emoji? Now, if you look at the chat, you should have the option to add in an emoji from the chat box there. And if you just want, again, either your favorite or most used, either one is good to go. So it's a hard choice. Let's see. Costa, I can see you're thinking. Yes, Savannah, I love it. I love it. Oh, Costa, is that most used or just favorite?
I didn't used to use it, but then I used it once and everyone made fun of me. So I was like, yeah, well, what the hell? I just started using the mermaid emoji everywhere.
There you go. Awesome. Very, very cool. Love them. It's Joni, I actually agree. I think that one's mine, or the face hand plant. Hold on, I'll actually have to find it real quick while we're this one is, it's taking me so long. Okay, well, I'm gonna go with this one actually. Yeah, that one's fine. Love the laughing one too. Awesome. Cool. Thank you guys for participating. Go ahead, and if you're just jumping on, feel free to go ahead and submit your favorite emoji into the chat. And I'm going to go ahead and get started. So we are going to try to keep this session to 30 minutes. We have a lot to go through. So I'll just jump in. Michael and Costa, again, will bring you guys on to help here towards the end. So let's go ahead and share my screen and make sure that you're able to see everything. Awesome. Perfect. So you can see my screen here. I am currently in a test white label account that we have. Now, Michael's going to talk a little bit more about this after I go through some areas, but you'll notice on my screen it says Sendible and by Sendible. So what this is this is actually one of our test co-branded accounts. And so that's going to be one of the differences here where you see by Sendible, just a slight difference. But what I really want to focus on today is a few key areas that we find are really, really beneficial to use when looking at setting up and then even like selling your white label. How are you going to sell this and show value add to your clients? So anytime you're in your white label, as an admin, you're always able to come in and view the white label settings, which is where all of the additional customization is going to be. So as an admin, when you log in, if you click on your name on the right-hand side, just as if you were going into like your subscription or billing details, right above that, you'll see where it says white label settings. So if I come into white label settings here, over on the right, this is going to be like our navigation that we're going to use within the white label settings. The first area, company details, this is very, very generalized. It's just specifics about your company, right? So company name, email, and so on from there. This is the logo. So normally when we provide the white label to you, we have already uploaded your logo, whether it's the co-branded or your specific logo. We add that in. If it has to be changed at any time, you can always change it here. The only thing with co-branded is we would have to do that for you because it says powered by Sendible. Now moving through the different white label settings here, looking at system configuration, there's quite a bit more details in here. Just a couple areas I really want to focus on. Here where you see tracking and widgets. Now, under the tracking widgets, there's two different areas. Google Analytics tracking is the first one. And what this does is it allows you to add in your Google Analytics tracking ID and then track analytics back to your Google Analytics account. So this is going to be a little bit different than what you see as far as the Google Analytics in the reporting hub, where you're able to pull in a Google Analytics report and generate that. This instead, you're putting in your tracking ID and it's going to track back to Google Analytics for you. Now here where you see custom HTML widget, this is really a great option. When you're logged in as an admin, you always see our resource center, which is this question mark here. And when you open this, it has all of our product walkthroughs, announcements, help desk, and so on from there. Now, clients of yours, since it's a white label account, they're not going to see the Sendible resource center. So they won't have this here. But what you can do is if you have your own provider of like a chat, whoever that may be, some examples would be Drift or Intercom, you can add that widget code in here and it's going to populate, just like this icon, it's going to populate the chat for your clients when they log in. So when they log in, they won't see ours, but they'll actually see yours and can communicate with you from there. So great option. You just go ahead and click Edit HTML code and get that added in. URL shortening. So again, this is, you're probably already familiar with this. This can be set on a per user basis, but you also on the white label have the option to add in your Bitly access token here. So you just select Bitly and add in your access token. And then that would be linked to, if you have a premium, I think it's called premium Bitly account, it would be linked back to that instead of the Bitly that we provide. Moving over here to under system configuration where it says design and layout. This is an area that I really wanted to focus on. It's personally one of my favorite like extra features of the white label that you have access to. And I'm gonna show you an example here of what this looks like. So let me just make sure perfectly, you can still see, awesome. So the first area under the design and layout, this is the theme. So this is just showing kind of the theme of the white label. Custom CSS, you do have access to custom CSS and modifying the CSS. We do have resources and documentation that can be provided around to help with this, and that's all held in our help desk. And I can actually link that into the chat after this as well. But if I can say anything as a best practice with CSS, is just keep it limited. If you're familiar with CSS, that's awesome, and you can definitely use it. But I just ask that you keep it simple to changing like the design, such as the color. If you want the compose icon here to be the color that matches your logo, you could use the CSS to do so. I just don't recommend hiding a bunch of stuff or trying to move buttons around or anything like that, because as we continue to release updates of the platform, sometimes those updates can affect your CSS. As an example, if you move a button or hide something and we release an update, it may have an impact on that and affect your white label slightly. Again, we have some resources on this, so I'll make sure it's linked into the chat so that you have those. You can also always find those in our help desk as well. So again, our help desk is linked here, and you can just access any of those articles. Now, the area I was talking about that I wanted to focus on, here where you see custom menus. So this is a really awesome feature that you only have available on co-branding and white label plans. What it does is it allows you to add in a custom drop-down here. So normally on a Sendible plan, you have your normal navigation, which takes you through the different areas of the dashboard from publish to profiles. You'll see I have the option here that says more. Now what this is I've created a custom menu by clicking on Create Custom Menu here. And this is the example that I've created. So there's a few settings you're going to do, but really the goal of this is that we're creating a dropdown, right? That we want to direct users to. So we're going to give it a label. So you'll see as I hover over more, it says training. So that's my label. And then anything that we're going to be doing in this dropdown, it has to be linked back to a URL. So where are you trying to direct your users to? It has to be pulled from a URL. So you'll just put that URL in here. And then you do have the option for the behavior to decide if you want it to be iframed. So keeping it within the dashboard. As an example, I come to more, I click on training. It keeps me in the dashboard, but iframes in from that URL. Or if I want to link the user out in a new tab to that link. Now with iframe, it does depend on the site that you're pulling in from if they allow for iframing. So just keep that in mind. You'll always want to test that before just setting it up and letting it go. Always recommend taking a look. Otherwise, you can use the URL option. And that'll work great. So you'll notice you can add in multiple here. You can add another submenu and so on from there. So that's really great. Now I'm just going to go ahead and close out of this because I want to show you an example of what this looks like. So let's say I log in and I'm over here on my dashboard and I'm in the calendar. You'll notice I see more. So an example that I've used is the training. Now, if I click on training, what it's going to do is it's going to link me out to a URL that I added in, I just showed you, and a best practice of how you could use this with your white label. We look to provide you what we call an unbranded quick start guide. And what that means is it's a guide that really walks users through getting started with Sendible. But what we've done is we've removed the Sendible branding from it. And for your white label or co-brand, we would actually add in your white label name here and your URL. So it does have a little bit of your branding. It won't be your logo, but again, it doesn't have the Sendible logo. And it just walks you through users through getting set up. So social profiles, starting messages, and so on. Now this document should be provided to you during your onboarding. Depending on when you came on board, it may be a newer process that we have in place. So if you have not seen this before, again, it's called your quick start guide. If you are a white label or co-branded customer and you've not seen this, you don't have yours, you can reach out to our success team at success@sendible.com, just letting them know you're looking for your quick start guide and we can get that over to you. So jumping back again, if I come to more and click on training, so let's say I'm your client and I come over here and I want to see more information on training, it's going to bring me to this document that I've linked in, which is awesome because it's providing me a resource now to really get started. I need help on adding in my profiles. It's right here. This is just an example. You can add in anything that you want into that as long as it's coming from a URL. But again, highly recommend looking at this as a best practice so that your clients have easy access to this guide that we have provided. Great, so I'm gonna jump back in to white label settings and I just have a couple minutes here. So I'm going to take a look at the last area, which is another feature specific to co-brands and white labels that the regular Sendible plans would not have available. So if I come here under design and layout, it says trial settings. Now, as an admin, you know, if you want a client to log into your white label, you create the user account for them, right? By coming to manage users, you create their user account, create their credentials, send them the information, they can log in. There isn't an option for them to sign themselves up. Well, through the white label, you can enable what we consider trials. And so you'll notice here, you can enable and disable. When trials are disabled, you have your normal login URL. So most likely it's like social.yourwebsite, you know, something along those lines. On that website, there's only a login, no sign up. If you enable trials, it enables a sign up button on that website. And it also enables this URL that you can send users to directly. And what it's doing is it's giving your clients or prospects an option to sign up themselves. So when they get to this URL, it's going to go ahead, they can click sign up, and it's going to ask them for their information. Just like you would input under the manage users, new users, it's going to ask them for that instead. So they would create their credentials and they would get themselves logged in. Once they click sign up, they enter all their information, they're brought right into the dashboard. So they then instantly have access. When you enable it, you'll be asked to set how long you want the trial to run for. 30 days is the max. And then if you want to receive notifications that someone has signed up for the trial, highly recommend you put this as yes, and you put in email addresses here who would need to know when someone has signed up for the trial. This is a really awesome feature that can be really helpful for getting people in, your clients, into the dashboard. The only thing I do want to highlight with this is it is considered a trial user. And now what I mean by that is two things. It is considered a trial user on your white label. However, they are an active user as well. So even if you have a trial signed up, it will still count as an active user. So if I just had a trial sign up here, it would actually say 111. Even though it's a trialist, it's still going to count against your user allocation. So just keep that in mind. Now, the other thing is if a trialist does sign up, so they come in and they use this URL to sign up, it's going to count as that one against your user allocation. It'll show you that they're a trialist. So if I come back to manage users, let's just use here Johnny as an example, it would say client trialist. It'll tell you that they're a trialist and how many days they have left on their trial. Also here next to edit, here, perfect, I knew I had an example. So you'll see, this is an example client. This trial has expired, so there's no days left, right? If there were days left, it would show you. Over next to edit, it says upgrade. At some point between when the user starts the trial and those days expire, if you want them to continue to have access, you have to click upgrade. All it does is just 2 clicks, you just upgrade and you confirm, and it just moves them out of that trial status into a full client on your white label. If you don't click upgrade, it doesn't delete their account. It just prevents them from logging in, which is great from billing perspective. If you need to charge them, get payment, anything like that, it's held off until you come in and upgrade them. So just 2 things to keep in mind again with the trial. Trial users will count against your allocation, as well as someone from an admin perspective of the white label will want to make sure they're working to upgrade the trial list if they're going to move forward with using your white label. Awesome. So those were the main areas that I wanted to cover from white label settings. I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing, and I'm just going to ask that Michael joins me. And
hi, Heather. Can you hear me? Hello, Heather. Can you hear me? Hello, hello.
Can you guys still hear me?
Hi, Heather. Can you hear me?
Can you guys still hear me all right?
Hi, Heather. Can you hear me? I can hear you, Heather. Can you hear me?
I can hear you both just fine. You can continue.
Okay, perfect. Cool.
Can you guys hear me okay? If you guys can hear me, Michael, would you mind jumping on?
I can hear you, Heather. Can you hear me? Okay.
Right. Please excuse us, ladies and gentlemen. We're having some slight technical difficulties for a moment.
Writing this on the chat.
Back to you, Mike.
Sorry? Okay, cool. So apologies for the slight technical issue there. What I'm going to be covering today is the differences between the co-branding accounts as well as the white label. I know Heather briefly covered that, but what I'll do right now is I'll share my screen and yeah, we'll go through the differences there. I can see Heather's back. Heather, can you hear us?
I can. I'm so sorry about that, guys. Not sure what happened.
No worries. Cool. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen now. Cool. So yeah, here we are. So as you can see underneath the logo, this is the biggest sort of difference when it comes to white labeling or co-branding. So under the logo, it says powered by Sendible. And in terms of the actual features, everything between the white label and the co-branding is exactly the same. So everything Heather discussed in terms of the white label settings, the trial, the design and layout, you will have access to all of those features, regardless of whether you're on the co-branded account or the white label. So the reason we introduced the co-branding was for agencies to actually build a bit of sort of credibility with their clients. So you can be more open with your clients and actually explain to them that you are an official sort of partner with Sendible and that you have sort of partnered with us to actually have your own logo on the platform, and your clients will have access to our sort of resources and our support team. So that's also a big difference. If you're on the white label account and your client needs sort of help or anything like that, they would go to you, and then you can come to us directly. On the co-branding, your clients will know that Sendible is sort of behind the platform, and they can contact us if need be. In terms of pricing, that's also different. So the white label starts at a much sort of higher number of users. So similar to our normal plans, where you have to start with a number of users and then sort of grow from there, the white label starts at 30 users. The co-branding accounts can go as low as 6 users. So if you would like more info on pricing, or if you'd like to sort of explore your options, you can sort of email us directly at sales@sendible.com, and we can discuss that further. So yeah, those are the main differences. I'll stop sharing my screen, but feel free to let me know if you've got any questions.
That's perfect. Thanks so much, Michael. Really appreciate it. And we'll just ask Costa if you're still on to join us as well, just in case there's any questions we need your help with. I do see that, Nicole, you had submitted a question that says, does the trial use default as the options for the user? That is correct. So what Nicole is referring to is permission groups. Now, when a trialist, so you've enabled trials on your white label, if someone signs up for that trial, it pulls them right into the dashboard, and it is going to go to the default permission group. So if you need to change that, when you get the email notification that someone signed up for the trial, you would then want to go in manually and update their permission group under their user settings. So that is correct. It always goes to the default permission settings, and then you would change it from there. I hope that helps, Nicole.
Excellent. So yeah, that was a very good question, actually, Nicole. Just one thing from a support point of view, something that's worth mentioning is that when a trialist does sign up, you can set up a 7-day trial. When they reach that 7-day trial limit and the trial comes to an end, you can extend it. And you can extend it again, and you can extend it up to like three times or 4, but you can't keep on extending it forever. There is a limit to the number of days that a trial can last, and I believe that limit is 30 days. So it's just something that's worth mentioning. If you want to give them a month to trial your white label, you can absolutely do so, but you can't exceed the 30 days.
Great, good point, Costa. I don't see any other questions as yet. If you do have any questions, please submit them in. I did just have one thing, since we have a few extra minutes, that I wanted to talk through, is we often get asked around helping with pricing. So setting up pricing of your white label, or how to sell your white label to clients. And something that I look at most often, I guess a question that I hear a lot is, how do I price my white label versus how Sendible prices Sendible? And so 2 things to think about is, if you're an agency and you have your white label or your co-branded account and you're selling this to your clients, the biggest thing I can recommend is looking to find value add for your clients. So us as Sendible, we provide the software, right? We're providing the technology in the platform. But you as an agency, most likely you are providing additional value add, and you really should highlight those, because that's what your clients really trust you for, whether it's content creation, strategy sessions, reporting, anything along those lines. Those are really awesome things to highlight in your packages, so that your package, it's not just the Sendible technology, it has all this more stuff that really your clients know you for anyways. So when you're looking at setting up your white label packages and pricing, I would recommend definitely focusing on those value add areas. Again, different things that you do for your clients. Another thing to think about is our Sendible pricing, which you can always see if you just go to sendible.com.pricing. It shows you our packages. And in those packages, you'll see that based on the plan you choose and the pricing level you choose, that ultimately affects the permit or the features that you have available. Now, when a client logs into your white label, they get all of the features, automatic, reporting to be sent, all these different add-on features are available because you have the highest level of a white label. Thanks, Costa, for sharing this. Appreciate it. And so you'll see here, you'll have all those features. Now, you can, of course, restrict features through permission groups. And so you could use the permission groups to build your packages. But just keeping in mind, like the differences between Sendible pricing and how you should price the white label, those are usually the two things I focus on. The features that you're going to provide to the clients through permission groups, and then also the value add. The value add that you as an agency provide is way more than just the technology. So just something to keep in mind there. Still no questions. Pretty quiet today. Michael or Costa, do you have anything else that you wanted to add in?
You did everything. You went through the whole thing.
Thanks for doing the screen along with me. I appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Yeah, you've covered pretty much everything,
Awesome.
especially the permissions at the end. Yeah, it's a very good tip.
Great. Well, I don't see any other questions coming in, no one typing. So just to let you guys know, all of these sessions we do upload into our help desk, and you can find them just by going to the help desk. There's a section for deep dive webinars. This session will be uploaded within the next couple days, and included in the article that holds the webinar recording, I will add in the link to the CSS document that I mentioned, so that you have access to that if you are interested in looking at your CSS customization. Otherwise, if you guys have any questions, please feel free. You can reach out to us at success@sendible.com. Again, just it's success@sendible.com, and we'd be happy to help with any questions regarding your white label. Awesome. Michael, Costa, thank you both so much. I really appreciate it. And we look forward to seeing everyone next week for next week's session.
Thanks a lot. Take care.
Bye,
Have a
guys.
good one. Bye-bye.